Hi guys, and welcome to another car review. This time it's a Suzuki Vitara, and some of you will have noticed that I have actually reviewed a Vitara before. That was the 1-litre 3-cylinder engine, which I quite liked. It was a peppy little motor, but that motor is no longer available in the Suzuki range, in fact, not just the Vitara. But the review for that I'll put in the link below, or I think it should be above here. What you get now is the 1.4 booster jet petrol engine, and that is also now supplemented with the hybrid model. Now it's a mild hybrid, which we've also seen in the Suzuki Swift Sport. Prices for these start at now just under £21,000. Add another grand for the hybrid equivalent. You get the SZ4, SZT and SZ5. This of course is the range topping SZ5. Prices for these start from about £25,000 depending on the options and stuff that you put on it. Now going back to that engine combination, you get 129 brake horsepower and 173 pounds-foot of torque. That's from 2000 to 3000 RPM. We'll talk a little bit about the hybrid and how it works on the move. They say it's 20% cleaner in terms of emissions. So emissions on this car is 140 grams per kilometer CO2, and they say it's 15% better on fuel economy, and the fuel economy is quoted at 45 miles per gallon on this car. They do come much better spec now, so as standard you get 7 airbags, you get adaptive cruise control, you get brake assist or brake alert, you get blind spot monitoring, and a lot of other stuff that we'll get into when we get into the car. These cars are very well spec'd, they're very practical, they're very user-friendly. Now, I'm not going to do a full walk-around review on this car. I'm not going to look at the boot and the back because I've done all of that, and as I said, the review for that other Vitara should be above or in the links below. This is pretty much the same apart from the drivetrain, and like I said, the spec has been uprated. So really what we're going to do is we're going to get into it, look at the front of the cabin and take it for a drive, because that's what it's all about. Before we do that, make sure that you're subscribing to youtube.com/browncarguy, following me on all the social media channels. Just search for my hashtag, that is of course hashtag browncarguy, and of course subscribe to browncarguy.com. You can also sponsor my content on patreon.com/Shazad Sheikh. More about that in a minute. Cool, let's get into this. So here we are in the Suzuki Vitara Hybrid. Now there aren't any actual signs or anything in here that tells you that it's a hybrid. You've got the all grip thing because obviously it's a 4-wheel drive, and in fact it will fool most people because you've got a manual gearbox, and most hybrids end up coming with CVTs. This has got a manual. It's the benefit of it being a mild hybrid system. Now starter button, I'll put the clutch down and there we go. That all comes on. I'm not going to talk too much about this screen here because this is, again, all of this is very similar to what we've already seen in the Vitara previously. Now, as you can see, there is the economy that I've been doing at the moment. So this is mostly around London, and I've done about 75 miles and I've done 37.6 miles per gallon. It's got another 280 mile range. As you can see, the fuel indicator needle, look at that, it's barely moved from the full mark. It was delivered on a full tank, obviously. Now this here is interesting. This is the thing to talk about, really. So we hit that little button there, see, and it will scroll through. So it will tell you your miles per gallon. It indicates that the total driving time. It tells you all of that. Total idle stop time. So again, I'm assuming that that's because of the stop start, which we'll talk a little bit about the hybrid, what it does, and in order to save fuel. And what it's claiming is that you've stopped for a total of 39 minutes and you've saved 294 miles worth of fuel. I'm a little bit skeptical about that, but anyway, that's what it tells you. Time and date, motion, so G meter, which again in the Vitara is a bit odd, but it is a fun car to drive, as we'll find. Torque and power meters, acceleration, brake meter. Now this is the interesting bit, because this actually shows you what is happening in lifetime with the hybrid system. So whether you can see there is a motor in the middle there, and the motor is really just to assist the engine. It doesn't really take over the driving duties completely, but we'll get into that. But you can see at any time if obviously we're not moving, whether that's actually charging the battery or the battery is actually sending juice to the motor. So that's quite good there. So there you go. So that, and then I don't know why you don't get an MPH indicator on there like I did see on the Swift. So like I said, I mean, you get a lot of spec on this car, and this one has got lane This is alert, so basically it will tell you an alert anyway there, but if you turn this on, it will also vibrate the steering if you move out of lane. You've got all your voice controls there, you've got remotes here for the stereo, you've got adaptive cruise control, as you can see. Over there you've got hill descent assist, and all the rest of it, traction off and all that sort of stuff. Down here you've got a USB there, and you have a power supply as well in there. Climate control, really good, no issues there. That's your Suzuki screen, all done the way it normally is. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto works there, DAB radio. Down here, this is interesting, this gives you the mode for off-roading and also sport. Let me just show you what happens when I select some of the modes. So let's go into sport. That's kind of cool, isn't it? And then what you'll see is that sport, the top right bit goes red and the sport indicator comes up on there. I'll go push the button to go back into auto. There you go. That's showing you the city, isn't it? And then if I do that, that's gone into snow. So there you go. And that's in snow mode. And there's a little bit of rain today, but there's definitely no snow. So 6-speed manual gearbox, proper handbrake. We're missing, less and less cars had that now, so I actually quite like that. Deep cubby box. Again, very nicely spec'd, very nicely kitted out, very comfortable. Rear space is good, boot space is good, very practical car. I've already said I like these. Let's see what this is like on the move. Right then, let's give this some beans. There it goes. 0 to 62 miles per hour in just over fraction over 10 seconds. It's about half a second up on the petrol car, but it doesn't feel it. Top speed of 118 miles per hour. The reason it doesn't feel it is because, again, going back to that mild hybrid system, and you can heel and toe in this thing, it's great. Going back to the mild hybrid system, the battery basically assists in the initial torque, so it gives you a bit more torque, and this thing is going to be a bumpy ride on this road. There you go. And but it's so stable. It's really good. I mean, to be chucking an SUV down this little road that's very bouncy. I've been down this road before, and to be totally confident with it is amazing. So the way that works, that mild hybrid system, is that it assists with the stop start. It assists with powering some of the accessories and stuff like that. But it also assists with, so it doesn't take over any of the driving. So you don't have an electric only mode or anything like that. But what it will do is it gives you that extra oomph. So it gives you that extra torque. So it gives you a little bit more go, certainly initially, compared to the regular car. As before, I've got to say about this thing, I did really like that 3-cylinder motor. Look at this, heel and towing in this car, this is great. I did really like that 3-cylinder motor, and I do miss it, and it's a shame that it had to stop, because it had a bit of a personality to it as well. But look at this, I mean, no problem at all. It does like to be in lower gears though. This is one thing to bear in mind, especially around town. It's only when you're doing like motorway speeds that you need 5th and 6th. But when you go into 5th and 6th too early, it doesn't really like it. So if you try and do that thing where you're trying to, save fuel by going into those gears, it doesn't really work. And again, we're now on this little curvy road, and it's just look at that. I mean, there's a little bit of body lean, but it's not like, it's leaning on its door handles or anything like that. And the steering is very nicely weighted, very well done. I've got it in sports mode at the moment. I think it weighs up just a little bit. But I'm not talking, it's not a sports car, don't get me wrong, but as an SUV, it isn't bad, it really isn't. It's actually quite an entertaining little thing. There's something that Suzuki do that they get very right with these cars, that it's practical, it's very easy to drive, the controls are light and easy, just as you'd expect. But we'll get that call later. But that was Kevin Haggerty, who I partner with Motor Overload. Check us out on motoroverload.com as well. But at the same time, it's responsive. It's not like super sharp. There's not a lot of play in it. It's not super sharp, but it's responsive, and there's enough of a little bit of a hint of a communication coming through it that you know what's going on. Again, the brakes are very reassuring. This is, in an SUV, sometimes you find the brakes struggle a little bit, but again, in this one, it's not really that heavy car. The extra hybrid system probably adds about 50 kilograms to the pack, and that's not a lot. Look at this. You can really feed it into the corner, good on the brakes, just slightly more bite would be appreciated, very little hint of an understeer, hardly anything at all, turns in very well, good grip, it's wet today, but no issues whatsoever. We are of course in a 4-wheel drive. Again, just been able to blip that throttle nicely on this car. But yeah, you can really thread it through the corners and gives you a lot of confidence. I mean, I know I'm reviewing this as if I'm reviewing a sports car, but it's not. It's a family SUV. But it doesn't hurt to have a little bit of engagement and a little bit of entertainment in a car like this, as we've just proven. And that's just nice, for people like us that, need this practicality of a car like this, but like to enjoy it. And the manual gearbox, of course, really helps, really brings the car alive. The ride, as you've seen, I mean, coping with that incredibly bouncy road was very stable, very solid. There was a moment when it just seemed to get a little bit of air perhaps, but otherwise it was very stable and planted the whole time. Of course, being the all-wheel drive, the grip is pretty good, no issues whatsoever there. And visibility, again, you're sitting high in this car, so you're in an SUV, and you have the benefits of being in an SUV, that you have good all-round visibility, good height. It has reversing camera on this car, so that's a benefit as well. And of course, big wing mirrors, no issue whatsoever. So really, it's really good. Now, okay, so to stop gushing and to just get to the point, I really want to recommend this car, just in the same way that I wanted to recommend the Suzuki Swift Sport, but this one with more justification, because it's only $1,000 more than the equivalent petrol car. So, and you get the manual gearbox, and you get the same entertaining drive. So to be honest, with this car, I'm gonna say, go for the hybrid. Go for the hybrid. Maybe you don't want to go for the full top of the range car that this is, with 25, 26 grand you end up spending on it. But you could go for the mid-spec car or the base spec car, really, if you're just about, doing a lot of miles and saving money. But I recommend the Vitara. I totally recommend it. As you saw in my previous review, once again in this review, it's really well packaged, really good car, very well put together, very well offered. Very practical, very sensible, the right sort of size for around town, decent enough for a family, but at the same time, remarkably enjoyable to drive. So there you go. So there you go. There's my review of the Suzuki Vitara 1.4 mild hybrid system, new for 2020. Thumbs up from me. There you go. Make sure that you're subscribing to youtube.com/browncarguy. Make sure you follow me in all the social media channels. That is #browncarguy on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Make sure you're subscribing to browncarguy.com. And you know what? If you enjoy my videos and like my content, then from as little as £2.40 or $2.40 a month, you can sponsor my content on patreon.com/Shazad Sheikh. And a big shout out and thanks to people that have done so, past and present. That's Muhammad Ali Humaid in the UAE, that's Partha over in India, Tom Conway Gordon right here in the UK, and Isaac over in America. Thanks so much to you guys. Perhaps you can also join that lineup and get a name check at the end of some of my videos. That'd be great. If not, doesn't matter. Please continue to hit that like button. Make sure you comment, make sure you share, and of course, you have got to be subscribing, right? And tell all your friends to follow the Brown Car Guy. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.